Hello once again everyone, and sorry for the delay in uploads. I have had a very busy end of month, but decided to give you guys something that I recently learned, which can be transferred into a bunch of things, which is a new kind of cutting pattern slash flow pattern. Now this was taught to me by a buddy of mine, Tennis Smith, who is going to be doing a Toyama Ryu workshop here for us in about a week. And we were just recently hanging out, wrapping tatami mats, and he showed me this cutting pattern that I really enjoy. And what's great about it is that it can be very easily transferred to pretty much any weapon you do. I'm going to show it first with the Bokken, which is how I learned it, and then I will use some of my other weapons. So the way this is going to work, and you'll notice that I'm standing in the midst of my, in the middle of my room, because I'm going to use this cross on the ground to illustrate the footwork I'm going to be doing. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and start off in your sort of standard Judan position. And from here, my very first movement is going to be cutting behind me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn, cut, then I'm going to turn back, cut. Now I'm going to face to my left, out, cut, then I'm going to turn all the way around, cut. Then to my left, cut, around, cut, left, cut, around, cut, left, cut, around, cut, and I've ended up at the beginning basically. So the idea there is that I am learning to attack at all four directions with as small movement as possible. So from here, to throwing a cut behind me as quick as possible, and then back. The next part about it is that when I change lines, I've changed which foot is forward. So you're always going to be cutting left foot forward, followed by your right foot being forward. And this is a particularly fun pattern to do because it's not terribly complicated. So now I'll just run through it at kind of regular speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And you can just kind of keep looping like that over and over and over and over again if you so wish. You can also change hands, change sides, you can start left foot forward, and you can even alter the pattern to start to have more pieces. So for example, if I'm here, rather than just doing one cut, and I'll go ahead and start facing the other way, I can turn about one cut that is now a downward from my left, so cutting away from my leg, back up, back down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I just keep it going like that, always cutting away from my leg as I move around the circle. Now, you can take this even further when I pick up my longsword. So now, of course, not only can I still do the exact same pattern, I can start adding in new mechanics. So, for example, since I'm going to be doing 3 cuts, why not add a short edge in there? So I'll go ahead and start off facing the other way. You want to be starting off with a foot forward. I recommend starting off with your right foot forward, in which case you'll always be turning to your left. If you start with your left foot forward, you'll always be turning to your right. But from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, around, 1, 2, 3, 4, to my left, 1, 2, 3, 4, to my right, 1, 2, 3, 4, to my left, 2, 3, 4, around, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can make that as complicated as I want. The only thing is I have to be cutting without doing any footwork. So I face one direction, I turn about, and I'm doing, let's talk a little bit about the footwork I'm doing actually, because there's a couple fine points I want to talk about. Number one is when I turn around, and I'll go ahead and do this one sideways, what I'm looking to do is not to bring this foot back, but instead to open myself up and then bring this foot around. So open, around, so now I'm in my normal stance. When I go to turn to my side, so I've just finished boom, 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 I am now going to open on this side while allowing my foot to turn. So there's always going to be in pretty much the exact same position as they would be on this cross. So to show you that again, around, 1, 2, 3, back, 1, 2, 3, Now I'm going to go to my right in this instance, open, 1, 2, 3, around, 1, 2, 3. Now the reason I like to do this is, number one, it's simple, and number two, is because I'm always kind of going forward on my transition. I'm not, for example, pulling around then stepping in. I'm going toward my target, toward my target, toward my target. And I like that aspect. Now, like I said, you can transfer this to pretty much any weapon you do. So here's it being done with my axe. Now with the axe, of course, to add a little bit of flavor, I added in a hand switch. Since I can't just cut around my head with the axe, I have to change which hand is on top, but the footwork will remain the same. So here's how that looks. So I start off left forward high guard, down, up, down, around, change hands, 1, 2, 3, my left, 1, 2, 3, to my right, 1, 2, 3, to my left, 1, 2, 3, behind, 1, 2, 3, around, 1, 2, 3, behind me, 1, 2, 3, to my left, 1, 2, 3, and around, 1, 2, 3. Not too complicated. And you could add thrusts in there, you do kind of whatever you want to do, but as I'm turning now, all I'm doing is, since I'm going to end up right foot forward when I turn around, I'm just switching my hands, so that way I can cut away from my leg, which isn't too hard to do with a little bit of practice. So all in all, that's our cutting pattern for today. Not a terribly complicated one, but you can make it more complicated, and I'd love to see if folks really like this, if they can take it and make it even more exciting. Just keep building upon it. Like I said, it's a really good exercise. I did it for about 30 minutes the other day, just because you kind of get lost doing it. But hopefully everyone enjoys, and don't worry, there will be more content coming. I finally got time again, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll go over some other techniques another time.